Now, last week I planned on reviewing Wonder Woman #4. I never really got to it. Doc and I ended up reviewing Catwoman 60 for Worst of the Week. This week we're going to go back to that and review Wonder Woman #4 for Worst of the Week. I thought it was so bad it warranted the extra inclusion and getting back to it, Doc.
I hated every single word bubble from every single person in this comic book.
Why would Wonder Woman want to kill a Make-A-Wish kid, Doc? It just seems so weird. And there's so much emotional manipulation in this particular comic book. And none of it makes sense because of the things that Tom King has created beforehand, especially with Wonder Woman, other than he's pandering and he thinks, well, there's a kid with cancer. You can't say anything bad about that.
Yeah, I feel like this was Tom's attempt at trying some reader manipulation, but it was so cliched, so overdone, and so ineffective and obnoxious. And it was so telegraphed that it wasn't even the slightest bit effective.
I would say this is the worst thing Tom King has written since Heroes in Crisis, in my opinion. That's how bad I personally think this particular comic book is. Let's get into the details. We will start out with the art, but we'll also talk about the very first page, which is a bunch of newsreels of people talking about this Delgado guy and his suicide and blaming it on the Amazons. And Daniel Samper is a damn good artist. You can see that throughout the comic book, even though there's not a lick of action in this particular issue. And you're just wasting him on this fucking opening page.
I mean, look, the art in it was beautiful. Nothing happened, and the closest thing to action was the barracks fight scene between Steve Trevor and random soldier number 43. But the first page of this comic book, going back to the story here, is just his way of skipping like 3 weeks of actual plot progression. But it was just so poorly done.
Absolutely. And I'm tired of him wasting good artists like Daniel Samper and Clay Mann on these stupid 9-panel grids because he thinks he's Alan Moore. Now let's get into the real story. There's two different stories going on here. We'll talk about the Wonder Woman first. And this was so weird because they've established getting into this. The American government is going around the country because they don't like Amazons anymore. And they are killing children. They're killing mothers in front of their children. And Wonder Woman is firmly the most wanted person in the entire United States of America. They send an entire brigade after her. So everyone is looking for this woman. And this kid is dying in his last dying wishes to meet Wonder Woman because he's the biggest Wonder Woman fan in the world. And she actually goes to his house. They've already established these guys will kill children. Why would you want to bring them to this kid's house? He created the stakes in this.
While I think that is a very good question, I'm really confused on how a suburban couple managed to find Wonder Woman and track her down to get her to come to their house when all of the 3-letter federal agencies and the military can't manage to do it. Then she actually shows up. Maybe she's using the kid as a human shield.
That's kind of like the way it feels. And it's really weird the way that she interacts with the parents. She won't allow them to call her Diana. She won't introduce herself as Diana. Like she almost demands they call her Wonder Woman, which felt very out of character to me.
If she was doing something like this, like a Make-A-Wish type situation, regardless of what her circumstances were, she would have been like, just call me Diana. It's fine. Tom King doesn't human well, and Tom King doesn't apparently allow Diana to human very well either.
And obviously this is all leading up to this moment because the dad was very uncomfortable inviting her over to his house because of what's been in the news. But obviously his kid's dying, so he has to invite her anyway. We get to this conversation, and it's so poorly done. It's as subtle as a goddamn jackhammer is the best way I can describe it. Wonder Woman, I think there's something wrong with me. What is this? Do you need to go to the hospital? No, it's not. I had so much fun today, the best time. And this was all I wanted. And I think I'm supposed to, I don't think this should be what I like. And she says, I'm glad you had fun. I wish I could give you more. You are a good boy. You deserve so much more. And he says, no, it's not that. It's my dad and other kids. I like this so much. And shouldn't I like Superman and Batman and I don't know, baseball and normal stuff for boys? Why is this good? Is it because I'm sick inside? Oh my God, it's so emotionally manipulative. And here's the question, Doc. is the dying kid, really gay, or is he really trans?
I think it's both. I'm all of the things that are apparently currently popular and are a privileged identity status and society. And my
his dad's wrong. His dad's evil.
Yes, his dad doesn't understand or wouldn't understand, because Tom King is nothing if not like full on TV trope cliche, like lowest common denominator, the most blatant attempt at reader manipulation that you can go
of course,
for.
the kid asked, "Is this why God made me sick?"
Yes,
blame it on God too.
Yeah, absolutely. Because gotta. I mean, first of all, we have to challenge heteronormative masculinity, and then we have to challenge faith.
A kid liking Wonder Woman and not liking baseball, or that Wonder Woman is his favorite character, doesn't mean that he's gay. It doesn't mean that he's trans.
No, it doesn't. Maybe
he shot a fucking bow and arrow in her face.
Yes.
Pretty masculine. But he was just used, I guess, to make you like Diana more, even though she wasn't acting like herself. She was way too stoic for having a dead kid right next to her. She's all about love and caring, and that does not come through except for maybe a moment or two. But this stuff was so over the top. It was just eye-rolling. It was that bad. And so that's the Wonder Woman part of the story. She's trying to get this little cancer, or not survivor, apparently it's terminal, this kid that's soon to be dead. She's trying to get him killed early just so she could make a point, or Tom King can make a point about how great she is, even though it does not make a lick of sense within the scope of the story that he's actually telling, because never mind that part. And then I guess the rest of the story, it's so boring. I can't believe, I mean, I can believe it because I read a lot of Tom King books, but I can't believe this was like the plot of it. And the whole thing is just over narrated, just like the previous 3 issues. It's just the Sovereign talking to what we believe is Diana's daughter. It's probably going to end up being that Emily's daughter or whatever, because she's pregnant. And it's all about how the Sovereign is writing a speech, or is QCing a speech that the president's supposed to give on Wonder Woman and whatever. And we can't use the words Wonder Woman. It implies that she's wonderful and all this stupid stuff. If you think writing a speech to give to the American nation would be a very exciting chain of events, this might be the comic book for you. And the worst part was in like the president gets down on one knee and kisses the Sovereign's ring, because the Sovereign is the king of America.
I mean, I did find it funny when the obvious stand-in for Joe Biden kneeled down and kissed his ring.
Everything about this is so cliche and over the top. And there are people claiming this is the greatest Wonder Woman run of all time. To you, I say, you're not reading Wonder Woman. None of the characterization makes any sense. None of this story even makes sense. That's the worst part, because normally Tom King comes out of the gate with a pretty good idea, executes it to a pretty decent level, and then disappoints you greatly once he decides to do what Tom King does. And this series, he's done it from the very beginning. And this Sovereign character, it's the same boring, cliche, over-the-top, rich white men, evil fucking character.
And from reading this issue, because there's also there's a scene or two with Sergeant Steele and Waller. Of course, she has to be the most goddamn obtuse person in the fucking room. I feel like this whole Sovereign thing is just to set up Waller as the ultra big bad that's going to come in and show that, the King of America and the Sovereign is really not even that big of a deal, because he reports to her.
That's already happening in Green Arrow and Beast World. Amanda Waller is so played out. But we do finally get the speech, but you get like all the responses to the president giving the speech, and it's the military listening, and Themyscira's listening, and Sarge Steele's listening, and Steve Trevor's listening, and Cheetah's masturbating, and we got the Sovereign with the president's like thing in his eye because he's the one that controls him. They're going to war, Doc. I thought they were already at war, but now apparently they're going to declare war on the Amazons, who technically shouldn't be in America. They should be in Paradise Island, but they illegally immigrated in. So this is all, I guess, like a legal immigration allegory that he's trying really hard to, but doesn't really work.
Yeah,
because the Amazons are actually from literal paradise.
I guess they're going to declare war on an island that's really, really difficult to find. Good luck with that, I guess.
But they don't have weapons, right?
They need ships and arms. What, do they want machine guns now? Like, I'm really confused. So what? You're going to have a bunch of Amazonians with fucking like ARs and RPGs now? I mean, granted, I wouldn't mind seeing some hot chicks driving down the beach in fucking tanks, but seems a little bit of a departure from the Amazonians. Why they need other arms, who the hell knows?
And the weird parts about this story is still no one's looking for Emily, the Amazon that killed 19 men that apparently led to like a world war or something. That make no sense. And then obviously the person that's created this war isn't the sovereign. It's not even the president of the United States. It's Diana. She's supposed to be there as a delegate from Themyscira. The queen of Themyscira has called her back. The president has expelled her and she won't leave.
She's just going to be stubborn, continue to escalate this into full-blown military conflict for reasons that they don't even seem terribly interested in explaining.
Nothing makes sense.
No.
I thought she didn't like war. I thought she didn't like people dying.
Yeah, she doesn't.
She's literally the cause of it right now. So that is Wonder Woman #4, Doc. I've read every issue of this. I guess I'll keep pushing through.
Why?
Just Tom King is a blight in the comic book industry. I have to keep on top of what this guy is doing because people think that he's someone to look up to, but he's not. He's a terrible writer, and I cannot wait. Please let the DCU be super successful and him to get a full-time gig in the writer's room at Warner Brothers for the DCU, because I would love for him, nothing more than for him to not write DC Comics anymore. He could go back to Marvel. That would be even better.
I'd
be the main X-Men writer.
I'd be all in favor of him being the him and Dan Slott to being the two leads that go out and do something great for mankind and colonize the surface of the sun.
Yeah, so I, in good conscience, am not going to recommend Wonder Woman #4. I think it's weird that she is actively trying to kill a Make-A-Wish kid. He's already going to die, but she needs it to happen sooner. And this is bad writing. That's like,
hey, she really needs a cancer-stricken human shield. Hey, she's already making the Amazonians look really fucking bad. She's got to make the U.S. military look bad by making sure that they shoot a cancer kid on TV.
Yeah, so that's probably going to happen. And we have come to the end of the road of this edition or this comic book review. Now, there will be more of this review. If you are a member of the Patreon, the Doc is right tier. You get the full review, no edits or anything like that. It'll probably be about 10 minutes longer, and you also get the Q&A, an extra 2 hours of Wes and Doc talking about all your questions. We also throw the Jim and Wes Hot or Not show on there, where we talk about all the new comic books on there. So definitely check that one out. There's a link in the video description. And Doc and I are not done because we are about to do the Q&A, which will be up on Monday.